And President John Dramani Mahama has painted a brighter picture of the economy for 2016 fiscal year. And President Mahama said key sacrifices being made, including strict fiscal discipline, have medium to long-term prospects for the economy. The president was delivering the State of the Nation address in Parliament.
This address happens to be the last in the first term of President Mahama. Very typical of him in recent times, he adorned locally made smock, popularly called batakari, arriving few minutes after 10 Thursday morning. In a statement that lasted a little over 3 hours, the president touched on various sectors of the economy. Key in his presentation was plans to ensure government does not overspend this election year.
I have assured the nation and our partners that my administration will exercise strict fiscal discipline even in this election year. As president, I swore an oath to act in the best interest of our nation. Acting in a nation's best interest is not synonymous with taking only decisions that make one popular. And I wish to take the opportunity to thank the good people of Ghana for your understanding and patience during these challenging times that we have endured together.
He had some good news on the power sector, which had been a huge challenge for years.
A year ago, I stood before this very august house and promised to fix the power sector deficit that at the time had become a significant constraint to the economic growth and had become a major disruption of the lives of Ghanaians, both at home and at work. Took full responsibility as Commander-in-Chief. It has not been easy. Mr. Speaker, it has been a year of hard work that has made us achieve the fastest mobilization of emergency power in the history of Ghana.
On health and education, the president enumerated a number of achievements and a year of review.
Ghana has been commended by the United Nations for meeting the targets of the Millennium Development Goals of achieving universal primary education with gender parity. In June 2015, I launched the National Free Sandals Program, which saw the start of the distribution of 10,000 Kumasi shoe factory made in Ghana to school children in need across the nation. The provision of teaching and learning materials program has also seen the distribution of teaching and learning materials to 10,924 basic schools. In addition, 30,000 trained teachers were trained in ICT under the Basic School Computerization Program, bringing the total number of teachers trained under the program to 50,000.
He also touched on a number of infrastructural projects before wrapping up with corruption and governance.
Corruption has serious implications for any society's advancement, and for that reason, the push against the canker cannot and must not be ceded to those whose only motivation is electoral advantage.
The address was based on the NDC's pillars of changing lives, transforming lives.
And there was mixed reaction by the majority and minority MPs after the president's address.
While the majority said the president's address reflected the true state of the economy, the minority described it as a tragedy of presentation that dwelled on infrastructure development.
An argument between Deputy Finance Minister Ato Forson and MP for Obuasi West Kweku Kwating on the true state of the economy.
In my own constituency, Anglo-Gold Ashanti has collapsed and people are crying for jobs.
Which country have they moved to? If you say they are moving, they are closing, they are moving to another country. You have to understand where they are moving to. We have to understand the reason why they are closing down. So for you to say they are closing down, moving to another country, it's inconclusive. I want evidence.
But Anglo Gold has closed down and invested its resources in its investments in South Africa. That's what I'm telling you.
Existing investment. It is their existing investment, and I know that Anglo Gold is not expanding in South Africa. They are actually using their same investment in South Africa. They are not expanding in South Africa.
MP for Menchia South, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, lamented the president's neglect of cholera and other health diseases.
The person who wrote the president's speech obviously has embellished the truth. And my president has said it. It is sad. Omani Baba will defend it. But the people sitting around will cry that what kind of country is this? A leap that is 28 or 40 cities. How can you stand a pig letter in it? You cannot even buy a pig. So please, let the president recognize that when it comes to, he should give the state of the nation, not party populist propaganda.
For me, what is significant is that no government in the country history will win an infrastructure debate than the NDC today, other than the Nkrumah regime. That there's massive investment across the country, whether in health, education, road or airport infrastructure.
He's talking about 100,000 hectares of coffee and some ridiculous figures for cocoa, but there's no budget for it. See, it's true that there's been a pilot scheme on coffee, which has been successful the last 3-4 years. They needed at least 50 million Ghana cedis for that to happen. And in the budget, they allocated only 2 million. So how can 2 million do a job for 300?
Now the president showed pictures, the president showed percentages, to the extent that the president even mentioned the certain MP's name. When he got to Jaboso, he mentioned the MP's name. He got to Eastern Region, he mentions Atachian's name, he mentions Napo's name, and some of the MPs that those changes are occurring in their constituencies.
Now, the minority NPP in Parliament says President John Mahama broke the rules of the legislature by bringing his own guests into the House to show as evidence of things he spoke about.
Addressing the media after the president's speech, Minority Leader Oseche Mensah Bonsu said it is only the Speaker who can have guests in the House and not the President.
The rule in this chamber is that all who enter this house, strangers who enter this house, are guests of Mr. Speaker and not the President. And then he breaks all rules to ferry people here, cheerleaders, to do his bidding. I think it would be interesting to know who bussed them down here, where are they housed, who is taking care of their feeding, and who will be responsible for ferrying them back.
The minority said most of the things the president talked about were untrue and described his address as an exercise of propaganda.
How many people are employed in this country? And of course, we do know that employment is predicated on agriculture and industry. What is the state of agriculture in this country? What is the state of industry, especially manufacturing industry in this country? The right to good health care of the citizens of this country, the right to education. These are the essential ingredients that the president ought to have reported to this country on.
Other minority MPs expressed disappointment with the president's failure to address the Guantanamo Bay detainees.
Ghanaians want to know the real arrangement between the United States and Ghana. What are we gaining? At what cost is it to us? And Ghana is the taxpayers' money, so the true state of the nation's address should have touched on that.
And the Member of Parliament for Tema West, Irene Natoshi, has commended President John Dramani Mahama for intervening in the land dispute between the Tema Development Corporation and the residents of Ajekojo, a suburb of Tema.
She says for the president to have captured it in the State of the Nation address means he's committed to the welfare of the people, and that alone is satisfying.
But for as long as he said that he has asked the Chief of Staff to take care of the situation, then I want to believe that he's going to do something. And I am grateful. I think the people of Ajekojo are grateful. I want to stand in their stead and thank His Excellency the President, because it would not be easy. Definitely one group would lose something. But I think that this is the most humane thing he can do, especially so as he shows compassion to other people. So I think he's done well, and for that I say thank you.
Meanwhile, some political party executives had varied views of the president's address.